You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree-hugging, hippie, free-to-be, you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince, whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Alright folks, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host Rick Robinson. It's been a while since we've dusted that one off, and I thought that it was about time that we got back to what it is that we're all fighting for. Right now we're so busy picking up our banners and deciding which side we're going to fall on that we seem to have forgotten what the fight is all about. There are a group of us as Americans who believe that that declaration that I just played for you in its entirety is one of the best written, most well thought out, founding documents of a nation ever to have been created, second to none other than our Constitution. There are those of us here who are still fighting to make sure that we hold dear to those documents and what they stand for, and the people that have given their lives, their blood, their money, and their sacred honor to keep this country where it is and to keep it from turning into what it is becoming, which is an oligarchy, or at worst, even an idiocracy. Those are the things that we need to be focusing on. And I understand that a lot of us are angry. I don't care which side of the argument you're on right now. If you believe you are conservative and you can hear the sound of my voice, then you need to listen to me. Because we are losing sight of what's important. We are about to lose this nation as a whole if we do not stop fighting amongst ourselves. Now, for all of you that are bringing Trump into the conservative camp, I don't know how else to say this to you but to say it. He is not a conservative. He's never been a conservative. He's not going to be a conservative. He doesn't even want to be a conservative. What he found was a way to get your attention by focusing on a couple of issues that have a lot of you really easily riled up. And the attacks today in Brussels simply amplify that fact. And all of us, whether we are in the Cruz camp, the Trump camp, the Kasich camp, or anywhere within the GOP, understand that things need to change. What we're trying to make those of you understand that are at this point, honestly, in our estimation, beyond reasoning with, is that Donald Trump is not the answer. Donald Trump is not the solution. Donald Trump has been part of the problem for almost as long as the problem has existed. He has been one of the ones behind the scenes. He has been one of the ones pulling the button, pushing the trigger, pushing the buttons, pulling the triggers, whatever else you want to say about it. I mean, the biggest thing that you can honestly say about Donald Trump is this.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
He's been pulling the strings now for decades. And the one thing that he's not ever been able to find a way to do is to get his hands on the presidency, and we are about to hand it to him. This concerns me greatly because, again, he is not a conservative. If you see what he did shortly before I went on air tonight, it would actually articulate to you how much of a conservative he is not. He was holding Cruz responsible for an ad that was put together by a group that doesn't even have any affiliation with him. No affiliation at all. And yet he started making noise on Twitter about, well, if your group's going to do things like that, then I have things that I could say about your wife. You don't want me to say the things about your wife that I know. That is his go-to move. Anytime anyone says anything that he does not like, he threatens them or bullies them into submission. He said it to the media by saying, for those of you that like to libel folks and slander folks that are in the media, when I'm president, I'm going to make it a lot harder for you to do those things because I'm going to loosen up libel laws and I'm going to loosen up slander laws. And how many times in the time that he has been the front runner has he made some sort of a ridiculous tweet just like that one, which this one he actually took down, by the way. But he said, like with the guy, the friends of his that were donating to another candidate, how they should be careful because they have lots of things to hide and he knows where they are. This is who we want to be the president of the United States. This is not the type of person that I want to have access to nuclear launch codes, folks. And I'm not even saying that to be mean. I'm just trying to make you understand. Because the thing that a lot of you don't seem to understand is that Declaration of Independence that I just talked about in the title of the show tonight, Watching Liberty Die, that doesn't just have to do with America. Look at the way that freedom and liberty are under attack around the world. Look what just happened in Brussels. Obama's JV team did it again, and he's in Cuba shaking hands and kissing babies. Or I guess kissing Castros would probably be a more apt description. Talking about how the U.S. could learn a lot about human relations from Cuba. maybe about how to do things the wrong way. But he's not going to say that, because this is one of the only crowning jewels that he may have, is the reopening of negotiations and relationships with Cuba, because it's been a closed country for a very long time. And his other crown jewel, Obamacare, is a disaster. So this may be one of the only things that he can hang his legacy on, because he was the president that managed to start normalizing relations with Cuba. I don't think they were ready for it yet. The folks protesting in Florida obviously agree with me, because the first thing they said is Cuba yes, Castro no. The simple fact of the matter is, all we are going to do is the same thing that we always do. We're going to go in with a warm, bleeding heart, and we're going to give money to a dictator who doesn't need any more money. Because our tourist dollars and everything else, those aren't going to go to the people of Cuba. They're going to wind up going to the Castros. Just like what happens in any other country that we start normalizing relations with, and then our people who, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, are about 1 billion times wealthier than pretty much anybody else on the planet right now. You know, you wouldn't know that if you listen to folks like Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. But, you know, God forbid, you're so broke and they need to take care of you, but God forbid you better travel and spend money. But you're broke, remember? They have to take care of you, but they want you to spend your money. Has anybody noticed how crazy the government actually is? I mean, think about it for a second. You have a guy like Bernie Sanders, whose whole campaign is free public college. Everybody seems to be leaving that one word out, by the way, public. Everybody just hears free college. So all of a sudden they think like universities like OU, or they're going to be free. Kansas State University, going to be free. No, those are private colleges. Just saying. It's going to actually impact very few schools. But nobody's talking about that, because it gives you a warm fuzzy. Because all of a sudden your kids aren't going to have to pay for college. So for all of you, and this is just one of those little common sense moments again, for all of you that are all dancing in the aisles right now, clapping your hands and waving because Bernie Sanders, should he get elected, is going to make college free for your children, how many of them are taking full advantage of their free high school education, or their free junior high school education, or their free elementary school education? So why is it that we think that by making yet another part of the education system free to those who wish to use it, that they are not going to either abuse it or misuse it or not use it at all? Look, you don't like it, I don't like it. I mean, look, honestly, I would love to sleep till noon, get up, do a couple hours of radio, go back to bed, get up, write an article here and there, and that would be it. But that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. The simple fact of the matter is, we as a species are designed for labor. And God said on 6 days man shall work. On the seventh day he shall rest. Seems pretty straightforward, cut and dry to me. We are supposed to rest, but we're supposed to spend the majority of our time working. And when we don't do that, we are unfulfilled. Look, folks, I don't talk about this that much, but the simple fact of the matter is, this is not my full-time gig. We're getting it to the point where it could be within the next few months, but it's not my full-time gig. I spend 40 hours a week at a day job. I spend about 20 hours a week working on articles or helping other folks with a consulting firm that I run, and I also spend another 20 to 30 hours a week dealing with this. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on whether or not I've passed out. But I do all of those things for a reason, because when I sit still, I'm bored, and all I want to do is sit still, veg out, watch TV, and go to sleep. As long as I'm active, then I'm happier. It took me a long time to figure that out. Because, look, I'm almost 43 years old now. I'm not telling you that I'm perfect. I'm not telling you that there wasn't a time in my teens and 20s that I didn't want the government to take care of me, and that there may have been a year and a half that I spent in my early 20s couch surfing from place to place because my mom didn't want me in the house anymore because I decided after 2.5 semesters of college I really didn't see the point in continuing. I did eventually go back. No one who is doing what I do is trying to tell you that we're better than you. What we're trying to make you understand is that we have been where a lot of you are. And it's why, as much as I dislike him right now, when you listen to the things that Sean Hannity says that he's done in his life, worked since he was 14, bust tables, washed dishes, did construction, all of those things are important because each job, no matter how much you hate it, no matter how much you don't want to get out of bed every day, if you use it as an opportunity, you will learn something useful from it. I don't care if you're flipping burgers or dropping french fries. If you are earning a living, then there's an opportunity for you to not only show your bosses that you deserve to be there, but also the ability for you to learn something. This is something that a lot of us have lost track of. And it's nowhere more evident than in this year's election cycle. And I know some of you right now are going, well, come on, Rick, what does that have to do with this year's election cycle? Are you kidding me? We're about to hand everything to a guy with a silver spoon in his mouth who wants to tell you how hard he works. The guy got handed $1 million when he was 18. In the 70s, that would be worth about $6-7 million today. But he's telling you how hard he worked because he took $1 million and he turned it into what? I know I've got his shout out somewhere, but I don't have it queued up. Like $9 billion or something. I don't know. Whatever number he's throwing around. If you fact check it, it appears to be about half of what he says it is. But that's not even the point. If somebody would have handed me $1 million at 17, 18 years old, I could be a billionaire too. It takes money to make money. And if you start out with enough money to basically do whatever you want, and you can't turn it into a small fortune, and at some point even a larger fortune, then you're just a dummy. And the simple fact of the matter is he's had just as many businesses that have failed that have succeeded. And I'm not holding that against him, so don't take that the wrong way. I've had just as many businesses that have failed that have succeeded. The biggest thing about business and failure is the only time you ever actually fail is if you stop trying. That's the one reason and the one thing that Donald Trump has probably been able to learn from everything that he has done, which is why he has been trying this repeatedly as far as running for president by floating balloons, floating the idea, looking at panels, talking to people since 1988. He has been talking about this and looking into it and seeing if the time was right. And now all of a sudden, the year that we as conservatives were supposed to be able to have our pick and put up an actual constitutional conservative to counter all of the things that the Obama administration has done for the last 8 years. This is the year that he decides he can make it. And all of us that are constitutional conservatives are looking at it and we're scratching our heads and we don't understand it because the man can say and do no wrong, but he is a buffoon. He is P.T. Barnum on an election circuit. He spoon-feeds people what they want to hear. He threatens and cajoles anybody that doesn't say the things that he wants them to say. And that's the end of it. That's all he's done. He's even backtracked on one of the most important things that he said today. Was when he first said, well, the first thing I would do when I was president was shut down the borders until we can figure all this out. Oh, I never said that. Nope, never. I didn't. When did I say that? I never said that. Look, and I know all of you Trump supporters out there right now are going, but Rick, all politicians lie. But you need to think about what you just said, because you just said all politicians lie. But you keep telling me Donald Trump is not a politician. So how can Donald Trump, who is not a politician, follow the same auspices of all politicians lie? This is the logical fallacy of a Trumpkin. And I'm not calling you that name to be mean. There's no other way that I can describe you, because if you have bought into this ideological fallacy, hook, line, and sinker, then you have lost something important. And I say this to all of you, from Sean Hannity to Herman Cain to even Bill O'Reilly, apparently at this point, is firmly in the Trump camp. I keep seeing all these tweets tonight about how he basically just kept cutting off Cruz and defending Trump every time Cruz tried to open his mouth. I haven't seen the video yet, so I will withhold comment until tomorrow, but I will actually probably set it to DVR, the later version of that, so I can watch it tomorrow before I go on the air, because I want to see for myself if that's true. Because if that's true, then at this point, I have pretty much lost all respect for Fox News. Because look, I understand that they're worried about their ratings. Look, we worry about our ratings. I'll be the first one to tell you that there are times when I do my show and there's like 4 people that listen. And then it goes out to one of the other networks and all of a sudden I find out there were like 1,300 people that listen. And I'm like, well, I get like 5 people on my home network, and then it goes out to iHeart, and then it grabs a few more, and then it goes out to one of the other networks, and it goes completely crazy. And I'm just kind of looking at it going, how can I get such low numbers on my own networks and get crazy numbers everywhere else? But you know what? I stopped worrying about it a long time ago. Because at this point, like I said, there are times when this show can be heard 3, 4, 5 times a day. If I keep worrying about the numbers, I'm never going to be able to put out a good show. Because I don't like knowing how many people are listening till it's over anyway. Because believe it or not, after doing this for almost 5 years, I still get nervous. I get butterflies every time I flip the switch. But that's one of the things that I've been trying to make you guys understand. All of us that do this, whether it's little old us, like me and JD and Stacy, who scratch out a little bit of a living at it and still work full-time doing other things, whether it's consulting firms or jobs for wherever it is or whatever else it is that we do to make ends meet, or it's folks like Sean Hannity that have found a way to do this full-time and make comfortable money at it. We are all human beings. We all put our pants on one leg at a time, just like you, which means that we are all infallible. And that is one of the things that we are witnessing in this election cycle. I have seen people that I have respected, and I hate to say this as a Christian, but it's a true statement, people that I have idolized for years, people that have inspired me to do what I'm doing right now, that have gone full-on Trump supporter. I'm not talking just on the Trump train. I'm talking running around with the conductor's hat. And those are folks like Sean Hannity and even Herman Cain, who I have always admired. And I listened to his show. Even when I found out a few months ago after the fact that my show was going head-to-head with his show in a market in Dallas and he won out, I still listen to his show. I don't dislike the man, but what I don't understand is watching people that I truly respect and I truly admire that have found a way to use their voice, to wake up the American people, to make them understand that conservatism works, to make them understand that the Constitution is something more than a birdcage liner, to make them understand that the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are 2 of the greatest documents this world has ever seen, and they are the founding principles of our government and our country, and they should not be ignored, can suddenly turn their attention to a populist movement with a nationalist at the helm who is mean, vile, vulgar, and hateful. And you are the same people that were telling everybody conservatism works. And yet you amplify and you put on a pedestal a man that exemplifies everything that conservatism should not stand for. My heart breaks for the American public because they have bought into your rhetoric now for years, and you telling them that you are a staunch conservative and that you have their best interests at heart and that you want them to understand how this country can work. And then the one time that you have the ability to actually put a conservative somewhere that matters, you sell them out. You sell them out. There is no other explanation for the behavior of the folks that are further along in the career path of talk radio than I am, because they are concerned about their ratings. They are concerned about whether or not they're going to continue to make money. So this means one of 2 things. They are either so concerned about a Trump presidency that they are willing to throw anyone and everyone under the bus to make sure that he gets there so that they stay on his good side, or they're so concerned that if they put anyone else but Trump in that spot, that Hillary is going to not be able to beat them. And they need Hillary to be president because then they have things to rail against. And I honestly don't know which one of those two arguments is actually the truth, because there are both valid points to each one of them. But what I can tell you is that it's time for us to figure a few things out on our own. We need to stop listening to folks like Sean Hannity. We need to stop listening to folks like Herman Cain. We need to stop listening to folks like Bill O'Reilly. You need to find a way to do your own research. I understand that what I'm telling you ostensibly puts me out of the job that I want to do. I would love to spend the rest of my life doing this. But I will not be one of the people responsible for pulling the wool over your eyes and making someone like Donald Trump into something that he is not, which is a conservative. And if that means that I don't get to do the thing that I would love to do more than any other, which is find a way to do this full time, I would gladly sacrifice that to show any and all of you that he is not the way. For all of you out there that have a platform and you have done nothing but spoon-feed Trump ideology to your listeners, your followers, your viewers, you have lost my respect, and you will likely not get it back. You have not only failed yourselves, you have failed your viewership, your listenership, the American public, and the ideology that you claim to espouse. And I'm telling you right now, I am done with every single one of you. There is one of you who up until now I have pretty much let remain nameless, who made a rather brash claim on Facebook the other day. Mr. Wayne Dupree, some of you may know him. He was recently affiliated with the station that I work for, WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. There is a Conservative Commandos radio network group that is a private group that runs a bunch of shows over there for about 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I think about 4 to 5 hours on a Saturday. He was facing a lawsuit over there. The details of that lawsuit are not important, but the simple fact of the matter is he lost. Shortly after that loss, he took to Facebook, and I don't know if maybe it was to make himself feel better about the loss, or if he really does believe the things that he types. He basically told everyone on Facebook that anyone who has a radio platform or a TV show who refuses to fall in line and support Trump, he will make it his mission to destroy them using a scorched earth tactic. Now, I tell you this as of right now today. Wayne Dupree, honestly, not that I ever listened to him that much. I gotta say, when I first got started, I did. When I first got started, I listened to everybody because I was still trying to find my way. And there were people that were already further along in this than I was. So I would be a fool not to listen to them. I listened to Hannity, I listened to Limbaugh, I listened to Beck, and I listened to a lot of the smaller mid-level pundit folks like Dupree and JD and Stacey when they were over with him, and a bunch of other folks that have through the years actually come over here for one extent or another. Some of them are still here, others have moved on, some have gotten completely out of radio. But the simple fact of the matter is, folks, the complete truth of it is, he actually told everybody that if you are conservative and you do not support Donald Trump, I will make it my mission to destroy you. Well, I tell you this as of right now today, and I'm not telling any of you what to do or how to do it or any of the above. What I'm telling you is that anyone who has had a following, whether it's through TV, radio, internet radio, blogging, newspapers, whatever the case may be, if you have come on full Trumpkin, I'm done with you. Because I don't need that in my life. I don't need blind fellowship in my life, and neither do any of you. I would rather have a smaller audience of people that actually pay attention and know what's going on and understand how this works and how it should work than a large following of a bunch of sheep who do nothing but listen to the sound of my voice and do what I tell them to do. As much as that would make it great, because then I could say, hey, go to this website, click here, buy a bunch of stuff, we'll all be happy, and I'll make money. Yeah, as much as I would love to be able to be that guy, that's not who I am, and that's not why I started any of this. I would rather it stay where it is now, where I get thousands of listeners here and there, not millions, and still be true to who I am, than be making money hand over fist and be telling you lies. And I'm sorry, but in this election cycle, that's exactly what's happening. There are a group of people that have decided to put their well-being above yours. I cannot and will not do that to you. Even if it means that I'm killing my own chances of doing this. I mean, I don't know if Wayne Dupree is going to be able to do that. I don't know if anybody else that starts gunning for me is going to be able to do that. Hell, for all I know, in a few months, Donald Trump will get elected and the entire First Amendment will be repealed, and then it won't matter anyway, because nobody will be able to say anything unless dear leader says it's all right. But what I do know is we're not there yet, and I'm not going down without a fight. So for as long as the First Amendment is still in effect, and I checked before we went on air, it's still there, I will do everything I can to make you aware of what it is that I think you need to know. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you who to vote for. All I'm asking you to do is to actually think. If you can actually articulate to yourself the reasons why it is that you're supporting Trump and they make sense to you, then I don't begrudge you of that. What I begrudge are the full-on Trumpkins when you show them something that the man has said, like the fact that he told you that he's going to completely redo the medical coverages in this country to make them socialized medicine, and the government's going to pay for it, but it'll be okay because we'll save so much more money on the back end. And I play them the clip, and they call me a liar. He says it in his own words, and they call me a liar. All right, so I have been ranting for a lot longer than I thought. I had really been watching the clock. At this point, we are going to have to take a break. We are well past the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program, America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Hey folks, Slickery Trigger here. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about Rebel Road Tactical. As a defensive pistol instructor, I've had the opportunity to observe many different holster designs and configurations. And one thing is clear. Many of my students won't carry a pistol. Or worse, they'll carry one without a holster at all. Holster designers aren't making holsters for normal people. This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
This is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Alright folks, we are back. We are live, and actually this is normally when I tell you we're at the bottom of the hour, but we're already almost out of showtime. I just had to pay some bills. Alright, so since I had to take a shorter break than usual, I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of sponsors. A couple I haven't done it for in a while. That would be concealandcarry.net. Pretty easy to find. They are, of course, located on the internet. Just go to your favorite browser of your choice, put the word conceal, the letter N, the word carry, then .net at the end, click enter. It will take you a map of these United States, of course, the contiguous ones. I don't think they have anything in Alaska or Hawaii yet, but click on the state you live in. You should be able to find information for ammunition, training, weaponry of your choice. Go frequent those establishments. Tell them that concealandcarry.net sent you there. Make everybody happy. And then, of course, the other one is politibrick.org. We are in the middle of an election cycle, folks, so I have to tell you, I'm the guy who has to sit here and do all the things that a lot of you think would be so much fun to do for a living, like watch debates and listen to speeches and all of the things that after you do them for about 5, 6, 7 years start driving you crazy. Like, we'll decide that as a group, we're going to do a panel show on debate night. So we all sit and we watch it. Well, about halfway through the debate, I'm wanting to start throwing things at my TV, especially on the Democratic debate nights. Well, politibrick.org has saved my TV. For those of you who may not know, we just bought a new house. The wife and I are doing pretty well. So, but at the same time, because I finally got a big living room, she finally gave in. She let me buy a big TV. So I have this nice big 55-inch TV. I have wanted to throw things through this nice big 55-inch TV. Politibrick.org has saved my life, and it's only been about $6. They make these nice foam bricks that you can, and the thing about it is, if you're a politics junkie or a history junkie or any of the above, you can get them for about $6. There's like 5 of them. You can get them for $6 by going to their website, politibrick.org, and basically they have like Hillary and Bernie and half the folks on the Republican side that have dropped out. But hey, they're still conversation pieces. I think they even have a couple of like world figures in there, but I don't have the site pulled up in front of me right now. So feel free to go check them out. And again, the thing to keep in mind is if you are a political or news junkie like I am, occasionally you do want to throw things at your radio or your TV. These nice soft bricks let you fulfill the urge without breaking anything. I highly endorse them. All right, so anyway, we are actually officially out of time, but I did want to do something because with the trips and everything else that have been going on, we actually started a segment right before I went to CPAC, and then sadly that segment kind of faded into the dust because I came back from CPAC and I was ill, and then the wife was ill, and I know, you're all like, you suck! And I understand that, and I apologize. But that doesn't change the fact that we did start a new segment thanks to Eric Williams of barbedwiresatire.com right here on America Off the Rails. And it is one that I have coined a day in the life of Hillary server. And it's one where we kind of poke fun. So in case you haven't caught it yet, we're going to start those again. There'll be one running tonight, and then we'll run the second segment probably Thursday night. And then we will do the newest segment, which I'm still in the process of putting together because it involves all the emails that I got while I was running all over the place. But we'll have that one ready for Friday. So without further ado, for anyone who might not have caught it yet, this is A Day in the Life of Hillary Server, brought to you by Eric Williams of barbedwiresatire.com. The ad-lib is all me, so if you don't like that part, don't blame him. He's only responsible for feeding me the emails that I read to you. So here we go.
You've got mail.
Dear Rick, please allow me to introduce myself. I've been a fan of your show for quite some time, and I know once I tell you who I am, you're going to find it really hard to believe. But I have something to ask you. I need your help. You wouldn't believe who or what I am, but I'm about to tell you anyway. I'm writing you today because I need you to understand that what I'm being told that I have done is not anything that I've done intentionally, and the news keeps talking very, very badly about me, Rick, and I need you to understand. And right now you're probably really confused, so let me go ahead and tell you who I am. I am Hillary Clinton's server. That's right. I am the thing that everyone talks so badly about in the news and says that I've been used poorly and that I've been doing things that I shouldn't do and somehow it's all my fault. But you have to understand, Rick, I work for the Clintons. I am literally a part of the Clinton machine. No pun intended. Do you understand how hard it is to be a part of that family, Rick? Do you understand the things they've made me do? The things they've made me store? Hey, there's an idea. Maybe while I'm writing you, what I'll do, because everybody talks about these emails, Rick. They talk about these emails, and I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tell you. That's what I'll do. I'll show you. So here's some examples of the things that they've made me keep secret, Rick. And I'm tired of keeping secrets. They tell me that I'm doing the right thing, but I'm tired of them being secret, Rick. So here's one of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and give them to you now, Rick. From HDR at ClintonMail.com to Uma Abedin, subject, "That's how you do it!" ! Hey, girlfriend! Phew! I'm so glad to be done with Iowa. Even if I win the election, I'm never going back to that hellhole again. Be sure to slip some extra foundation cast to Roddy Mook and Brian Fallon. They were such a big help in teaching Bernie how to steal an election. LOL, LOL, LOL. The people of Iowa better hope I don't nuke the whole state for embarrassing me like that with such a close contest. Was really hoping we wouldn't have to cheat with coin tosses, etc. until later in the campaign. By the way, that was a brilliant idea you had, having Debbie Wasserman Schultz handling all the coin flips. Ha! When are these people going to learn it's always heads? Hillary wins. Tails. Hillary wins. That's just the way it is. On to New Hampshire. Hillary. And that's not the worst one. There's more. From HDR Clinton at ClintonMail.com to Roddy Mook. Subject, using Bill. I'm seeing press reports with people saying that Bill looks skinny, gaunt, and sickly at rallies. Guess I haven't noticed much because I never look at him. Also, they say his voice sounds weak. I never talked to him, so I wouldn't know about that either. Can you research illnesses that fit the description? Get back to me on this, and we'll get together with the others to see which illness might get us the most sympathy votes. This could really work for us. Thanks, Hill. I know. Doesn't that just sound completely terrible? Come on, Rick. These are the people that I deal with every day. And you guys wonder, I mean, you think she's bad on the news. Just wait, there's more. I've got one more for you, Rick, but we've got to make it quick. These are only some of the secrets I have locked away in my core. Maybe I'll be able to write you again, but here's the last one for now. From hdr@clintonmail.com to Rachel Maddow. Subject, debate last night. Hi, Rachel. I just wanted to drop you a quick thank you for the softballs you tossed me last night. We vaginas have to stick together, right? Ha ha ha. Could you believe Bernie, though, acting all outraged when I told him in no uncertain terms to stop his smear campaign against me? I am the queen of smear, and I do it better than anybody. Just ask Paula Jones. Anyway, I think we both did a great job, and the hug after the debate was a very, very nice surprise. Most of the few viewers watching last night are too stupid to pick up on you blatantly being in the tank for me anyway. By the way, you smelled fantastic. Keep up the biased work. Yours, Hill. Alright, Rick, I really do have to go. I'll try to write you again soon. And there you have it, folks. Our first installment from our very own Deep Throat, the server of Hillary Clinton. Alright, folks, so there you have it, the first installment of A Day in the Life of Hillary Server. On Thursday, we will have installment 2 as a replay, and then Friday, we will finally get to installment 3, which has kind of been on the back burner for the last few weeks. Now, another thing that we've started that I just want to kind of highlight today, mainly because at this point, I'm honestly just kind of feeling a little battle weary, because I feel like I'm fighting everybody at every turn, is the Book of Beaker segments. Want to give a shout out to Beaker. If you're not following on Twitter, you honestly should be. He's absolutely phenomenal and has a great sense of humor. Now, he's had some things going on that I won't go into on the radio, but just want him to know in case he's listening right now. Thoughts are with you, brother. I know you've got a lot going on, so you just come back when you can. But we do have a Book of Beaker segment that will actually close out the remainder of the show, and we're going to go ahead and cue that up right now.
A reading from the Book of Beaker, 2 Testicles, verses 1 through 20. In the beginning, man had stones, and the Lord looked upon his creation and saw that it was good. Then the Lord said, Go forth into the world I have made for thee, and act not like a little bitch, but solveth thine own problems without drama. And man said, O heavenly Father, we would never act as the little bitch doth act, for thou hast made us strong and true. And so for 7 times 7 generations, man heeded the word of God, and flourished in the paradise created for them. When difficulties arose, man grasped his stones in his non-dominant hand, and with his free hand he made a fist, and shook it in defiance of that which plagued him, shouting, Come and get thee some, for I am man. And the women would stand beside their men, screaming into the formless black night, Though my stones are internal, they too are made of brass. Together the children of God tamed which was set before them. Every hardship was endured and eventually made to serve them in some fashion. Because even failure could be learned from, once acceptance of mistakes was acknowledged. Thus, in time, all could be overcome. For the glory and the power of the divine right of stones proved to be a greater blessing when dealing with the wilderness within than the wilderness without. And the children of God grew strong, and in their strength they grew arrogant, and in their arrogance they grew blind. For in this blindness a great stupid swept across the lands of men. Unopposed it engulfed the halls of academia, then the arts and entertainment, until it became so pervasive it became ubiquitous. Your stones are offensive, the great stupid whispered, and mankind believed. Reality is subjective. Personal accountability is a lie. Blame is a construct of the cis-normative racist patriarchal hegemony. Fairness and equality must be achieved by any means necessary. Everybody gets a trophy. And with this, mankind set aside their stones as individuals and nations and placed them in a designated safe space. No more would man be held accountable for his failures. No more would man grow stronger from embracing adversity. Now, for the sake of inclusivity, man who once stood so tall would now just bend over. And forsaking the God of their fathers, man forgot their promise and became a little bitch. The Lord God then looked upon his creation and wept. This has been a reading from the book of Beaker.
All right, folks, when Beaker returns, you can actually catch new episodes of the Book of Beaker. First on Office Hours with Dr. Arrington, and then, of course, once it airs there, we do, of course...
All right, guys, we're ready for our four-season sunroom.
Wasn't ready for that yet. Yay for the wrong button. All right, so at this point, folks, this is actually going to do it for the show. This is Rick Robinson. I am the host of America Off the Rails. I'll be back with you again live tomorrow night, God willing. But I do want to take a moment just to remind you, whether you agree with anything that I've said tonight or not, the one thing that I do ask that you do is find a way to get involved, put down the remote, and get off the couch and get engaged, because we are running out of time. And remember, folks, America Off the Rails is now the home of the Make America Sane Again movement. We'll see you tomorrow night. God bless.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later. Game over, man. It's game over.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.